It is noon here Central Time, and welcome. This is David Knox. Welcome to the first Monday Administrator and Manager webinar, Monday, May 2nd, 2016. Thank you guys very much for joining me. Before we continue, if you would write in your calendars, the next webinar is going to be Monday, June 6th, 2016. And today, to the May 2016 videos, we'll talk about the accountability plan updates, and I thought I'd give you some tips on meetings. And what triggered that was one of our members called up and said, you know, I really want to get back to sales meetings, and do you have any tips for me? I said, yes, I do. That would be a good topic. So, as always, we begin every month with what's new for May 2016. This is where you guys get your topic lists. So, might as well just go live to the site. I'm going to go back here, click on videos, click on what's new for May. And I think for all of you, especially new members, if you download Knox Topics by Curriculum May 2016, you will see we're up to 378 topics. I bold the ones that are new, and we organize them, you know, building a team, prospecting. They're organized by category. And I know we're an online site, but frankly, I sometimes like looking at stuff in print. It's just easier to go through. So you may want to print that out. Also, we have our agent user guide. Probably going to have to do a couple updates on it, but you can email that to your agents, print it out, put it by the coffee machine. And the one update I do have to make, I'm proud to say that we have now added the Android app. And so now every mobile device, you can use our training. In fact, Ed, get ready. I'm going to unmute you and ask you a question. So, Ed, tell me about the mobile app, because you were one of the first to use the Android.
Downloaded extremely easy. It comes up. I'm on it right now. Just hit it. It comes right up. Very, very quick, easy to navigate. I'm looking at what's new for May. All the KFTs and the RLs, all the videos are right there. They load very rapidly. Good quality, good sound. It's one of the best apps I've seen. It's really, really, really good, easy to use.
Oh, glad to hear it, because I haven't used a PC ever in my life, or those apps, so I don't know. So I'm glad to hear that the Android's working. And what's that done to your agents? Have you, are your agents tending to watch more videos now that they can do it anywhere?
Well, I would hope so. We rolled it out. I was on it 2 weeks ago, rolled it out to them last week. Tuesday mornings we have our sales meetings, so it's on the agenda tomorrow to go over to see what we're doing. So.
Oh, good. So, okay, so that's going to be new to them. Okay, well, thanks, Ed. I'm going to mute you. I appreciate that feedback. And let me go back to what I covered a little bit, our new videos. We have the KFT 98 event marketing, so you can go in there. Oh, and by the way, in addition to the outline, if you click on this tab, KFT 98 checklist, I created a simple checklist on how to plan an event. It's, you know, it doesn't cover everything in the world, but it covers most of what these guys go through when they plan an event. So I hope you find that helpful. That might be a good topic. You might even start doing this as an office. Have an event for your whole office someplace. So let me know what you guys do. And then, as I mentioned, Real Estate Live 26-4 with Lawrence Wong. That's our other video. Now, let me go back to accountability plans. I'll show you some of the new stuff that we have done. First of all, if you cloned the new agent plan before, you may not have the descriptions. You see here at the beginning of every section, I created a paragraph for that. So if you cloned it like a month ago, it's possible you don't have that. So one of my challenges with the accountability plans is that the templates are dynamic. You know, I'm going to upgrade those probably once a month, whereas once you clone it, it becomes static. And I'm going to figure out a good way to kind of keep you guys updated on that. But if you want to go into your plan and add the descriptions, you can go into the template, click preview, and then just copy out the text that was used there. But I want to show you something that's really cool. When you click on structure, first thing you're going to have is a description of the whole thing. This is where you write a note to your agents and say, you know, you've been with our company, you're a successful agent, you've proven to be successful in this industry, we would like to help you go to the next level by focusing on the business skills that matter. So you can write your own introduction to this, put your own company name in it, and personalize it. And now the new feature is emailing. We have set it up where when you enroll an agent in an action plan, each action plan will have an email that gets sent to them that says they were enrolled. And you may edit this template. So right here it says I've enrolled you in this action plan. When you go in there, you can change that to the name of the plan or whatever you want. I left the words "this action plan" because I know you guys are going to name it something else, you know, the Focus 365. So you could say, I've enrolled you in Focus 365 to take you to the next level. So again, new feature, descriptions at the beginning of the plan, descriptions at each section, and the big change was we now allow emailing to all your agents. Now, some of you have some members that say we prefer to do our own emailing, and in that case just disable this and you can do your own and copy the text. Next, we're going to go back. I'm going to hit the back button here. We're going to click on edit, and this is the second level of editing, and at this level this is where you can click and drag and move the videos and tasks around, resequencing. And now this is the level where the real editing happens. This is the real magic. And I don't know, for those of you who worked with action plans before, one of the frustrating parts for all of us was when you clicked on, you had to go down 16 miles worth of videos to get to the task. And it annoyed me and annoyed everybody else. I said, come on, we got to be able to do better than that. So we did. We made tabs. So the description of each section is right here. So you can write in whatever you'd like to say about the section. Then when you click on videos, then you see this long list, but you only see it when you're making changes. My guess for most of you who work with our accountability plans, you're probably going to leave the videos the same. You might deselect some. Speaking of that, every one of the sections I tended to put more videos in than necessary because I think it's a lot easier to remove them. And then when you click on tasks, there you are. You no longer have to scroll 38 miles down to the bottom of the video list. They are right there for you. So this, our programmer came up with this the other day and I went, thank you. This makes it so much easier for all of us. And by the way, if you have a task that's in section 1 and you want it in section 2, you click on the move button and then you can pick which other section you want it in. We did this for one member who I think he created, I don't know, 400 tasks in one section. Then his intent was to be in all 14, so we tried to make that easy for him. What I'm going to do right now, webinars are so challenging to be interactive, so I'm going to stop and say, what questions do you guys have on accountability plans? If you would type it now, I'll give you I'm going to go look at the posted questions and then I can answer them for you. And while you're doing on that, remember once you've created the action plan, the next step is to enroll agents. And you pick the plan, Rising Star, whatever you want to call your plan. You click on enroll agents. You will see a whole list of your agents. You put a check mark in front of them and it does two things. Number one, it enrolls them. It does three things. Number one, it enrolls them in the plan. Number two, it creates a button in their site. This is the button. Your agent will see the button called Action Plans. And over to the right, they'll see the word either Start or Continue. Start if it's new, Continue if they're in it. And then they scroll down and they complete on their task. And the third thing that happens is that they will get an email, if you enable it, announcing that they are members. So let's see. Ernie Pinker just uploaded the Android app. Excellent! Exclamation mark. Thanks, Ernie. Good to hear from you. And from Vinny Delasio, does move also mean duplicated to another step or removed and moved? The answer, Vinny, is it takes it from one section and puts it in another. It does not duplicate it. Hey, I got to show you guys another thing. I forgot about this. This is another. Thanks, Vinny. Good to hear from you. I'm going to manage accountability. Once you create a plan, if you'll know, there's a new button down here called Clone. Now the clone up here in templates clones the template and then gives you a plan to work with. The clone down here allows you to clone your own template. And you might be thinking, why would I want to clone my own template? A couple reasons. One, you might have created a 14-step template and say, you know what, I want to divide it into 4 quarterly parts or something like that. And what you can do is clone it 4 times and delete the unused sections in each one. So you can, that's how you divide something into 4 segments. The other thing, some of you may have, let's say you have an office in 2 states, as some of you do. You might have 2 Rising Star plans or 2 new agent plans, one for Kentucky, one for Ohio, let's say, and then you could adjust it. So we just put that in there for you. We thought it might might make your life easier. Any other questions? Somebody else was talking about, is anybody else in the process of using an accountability plan, had it rolled out for a while, that would just like to share what you've done? I'm going to go, Chrissy, I'm going to unmute you. You just started it, though, with a new agent, right?
That's correct. Yep, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, do you have any kind of early reviews? How was it to build the plan, enroll them in it, and everything else? Any feedback?
Well, April, who's here with me, built the plan, and I think April's a little shy, but had great success. It was fairly easy.
Yes, it was easy, a little time consuming, but totally doable.
Yeah, I would agree with the time-consuming part. Yeah, if you're going to upload a lot of your documents and your personal stuff, it takes a while to build it, but the good news is you have some place to bit. Go ahead, April, you were going to say something.
Well, and I think the changes that you've made with the tabs and stuff will be even better for the next accountability plan that we'll do for a more experienced agent. So I think these are great. We love the ability to track their progress.
Yep.
To see that. So we've enjoyed using it so far.
Good, thanks for the feedback. Yeah, those tabs, you know, when I saw those, it's one of the most obvious solutions for making a long list next painful, and this is a work in progress, but when I saw the tabs, I emailed our programmer. I said, Stas, thank you, this is the coolest thing you've ever done. So, yeah, it does make it a little easier. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I see no further questions, I'm going to move on. We'll go back to the PowerPoint presentation. And we talked accountability plans, the tutorial. I just want to say again, if you go to your home page, videos, and you click on Manager Resources, right here you can download the new accountability plan tutorial that was effective yesterday. So remember that. Well, now let's talk about sales meetings, sales meeting tips. There's a couple of things in the industry that used to be standard that seem to have somehow gone away. And the first thing that went away was pre-listing packages. I've done, I don't know, 25 seminars so far this year, and when I do my seminar on listings and pre-listings, I say, how many of you guys are doing a pre-listing package? And in an audience of 200, about 9 hands go up, and I go, wait a minute, let me just ask, who's not doing pre-listing packages? You know, hundreds of hands go up. And I say, why are you stop doing them? And the answers I hear are, I don't know. So, well, if you did know, what do you think it would be? I don't know, I used to do them. How do they work? They worked really well. So why did you stop? I don't know. So I guess to salespeople, get back to doing a pre-listing package. Say, what should I put in it? Doesn't matter, just anything. Put in a handwritten note, a resume, a past feature sheet, just a note saying, look forward to seeing you tonight, just at least something. And the other thing that I see stopping in the industry is, those of you on this call, managers, is we stop doing sales meetings. And they say, oh, we used to do sales meetings. How'd they work? Oh, they worked really well. Why'd you stop? I don't know. People stopped coming. Could it be that your meeting sucked? And I pardon my use of language on that, but I wanted to get your attention. Some sales meetings are just bad. So I would like to encourage all agents to do pre-listing packages again, and I would like to encourage all my members to do sales meetings again. And I realize some of you maybe are smaller groups and it doesn't always apply, but sales meetings are good, they work, and by the way, I can help you with sales meetings. We've got more than 300 videos you can use as a basis for content, so you'll never ever have to ask the question, what am I going to do in a sales meeting? Well, I guess you have to ask, yeah, what topic do you want to cover? But then just go into our library and pick a video that you think makes sense. And by the way, start with a quick tip. They're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. That's a nice way to open a meeting, generate some discussion, and then continue to another video. And I've been Skyping and Google Hangouts into meetings. People get a kick out of it. They love it. We had somebody the other day that said, gosh, I didn't know I had all these videos. These are great. I really want to do these. So bring me in. And when I ask why people are doing it, there are some people they don't know how to use Skype and Google Hangouts, and I get it. There's a couple of things you have to know, but just call us. We'll talk you through it. So, and here are the last couple of Skypes I've done, and people get a kick out of it. So some of the mistakes that I see people making in meetings, in other words, why don't people come to your meetings? It probably could have been because the last meetings you had are just not that good. I don't mean to, sorry to be blunt, but when I talk to agents, I say, why don't you go to the meetings? Oh, she just rants about getting listings, and then they run over, and she starts late, and I have appointments, and on and on and on. They don't like it. So do not wait for stragglers before the meeting. Stop that. You'll notice that when I do these webinars, I have my iPhone. As soon as I see 12:00, I hit record and we start going, and you know I start on time. I don't care if there's nobody in the room. You start speaking. I wouldn't say anything too important to an empty room, but you have to teach people that you start on time. If you want to teach your agents to be at listing appointments on time, you must respect their time. And then the corollary to that is you absolutely have to end on time, even if you are not done with your meeting. If you told them your meeting is going to go from 9 to 9:59, at 9:59 you wrap it up, you stop and keep your agreement. And if you had more to say, then you can say, hey, you guys, I promised to be out of here at 8:59, so I'm going to take about a 2-minute break here. Those of you who have to go, please go. For those of you who would like to stay and discuss this a little bit more, I'm going to hang around for another half hour. That's a way to do a longer meeting and also keep the agreement. Blaming agents for not attending, big mistake. Saying something just to say something, ranting about low performance. They do not want to hear you rant about, hey, we're short of inventory, you guys got to get out there and get more listings. They don't want to hear that. What they do want to hear is, how do I get more listings? What specifically can I say or do to get another listing? And you've heard the old phrase, praise in public, chastise in private. And the reason that I am trying to get people back to meetings is because it multiplies the material. You know, when you have a one-on-one, you can teach somebody something, but when you have a whole group, it multiplies it. Everybody has some fun, there's discussion, there's energy, and the learning people are engaged. And the other thing that I'll talk about is doing some kind of practice in a meeting. But remember, people who got into the real estate business are pretty social creatures. They typically like hanging out with people, they like to party, they like to chat, they're very social people. So to think you can run a company with all your agents operating out of their car and seeing them once a quarter, I don't see it working. And when it first started in the industry and I saw this, I thought, I don't know, is this the new thing? Is this going to work? And I will tell you, it doesn't work. People are human, they want to get together. So how do you get them to attend? That's the big thing. Well, the first answer to that is have a really good sales meeting so they tell everybody else and they want to come. Obviously, you do the announcements, and there's a lot of ways to do that. The other key thing is to get key influencers. There are people in your office that, you know, if Betty does this, everybody's going to do this. So you sit down with Betty and say, hey, I need your help. I'm going to have a meeting next Tuesday, and I'd like to have some good turnout. I really would appreciate your support if you would tell everybody to come. Some people use the bomb or a iPhone message or whatever and send a video, putting it on everybody's Google calendars. Have your assistant or you call every agent to invite. I know it's a lot of work, but an email reminder, and then finally a group text. So you can't just say, hey, we're having a meeting next Tuesday, and then stop. You got to do some work. It's hard work getting people to come to anything nowadays. So you can mix it up with other agents running the meeting. So if you're out of ideas and maybe you don't want to be the presenter, get one of your agents. Maybe she just had a great sale, and you know she worked with these buyers and closed them after 5 showings, and you want to know how in the world did you did that. Then let me say, hey, you know, we're going to have a meeting on how to close a buyer in 6 showings or something like that, and make it exciting. And then prepare. You can have outlines, materials pre-printed. There are 2 schools of thought on announcing the topic for a meeting. I've always thought it's a good idea, but there was a lady with one of our members, Hunt Real Estate. She says, you know, I don't like to tell them the topic because then they say, oh, I already know about that, and they don't come. So I'm probably not helping you right now. So you make your choice on that. I'm going to lean towards maybe a generic topic. You know, we're in a low inventory market. We're going to share some techniques on how you can increase your inventory, and leave it general. Guest presenters, sometimes when you have guest presenters, be careful. Most guest presenters, they'll talk a dog off a meat wagon. You better give them a clock and make sure they only talk for as long as you tell them. Videos, you've got 300 and some videos in our system that you can use. Have a clock. Start on time, end on time, keep it short. If you do this, people will start coming to your meetings, because if you respect their time, they will respect your meeting. And again, you can end on time and then say, look, I'm going to be here for another half an hour for those of you who want to continue. Room setups. Any of you who have worked with me in a live seminar, I get called a control freak, and I am. But the reason I am is because if you have a bad setup, it's hard to win. I've done 3,400 events, and you know, I can tell you about the 10 where the setup was horrible and I could not overcome it. I don't care how professional a speaker you are. If you have a horrible setup, it's really, really difficult. So I want a room bright, as bright as it can be, and I want tight seating. I like theater style. Keep them down, keep them close. I was at an event recently where they actually spread people out so it filled the room, and I went, no, 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 you want to bring them in tight, tight. Some people like music to kick off the meeting. That's your choice. And I'll tell you what, pardon me, if you have coffee and donuts, people will come just for that. Get yourself a big box of Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks coffee, and people will come. The other thing is never have enough chairs for your audience. If you have 15 people coming, have 13 chairs. If you have 100, have 80 chairs. And then they'll say, how was the meeting? Oh, it was really good. They had to bring in more chairs. But there's nothing that'll kill a meeting more than having too many chairs. Keep the lights on, drapes open, pre-check your audio and video, and if you're doing anything on the internet, these are just fine points. I recommend that you hardwire through Ethernet rather than Wi-Fi. This is not critical because Wi-Fi is getting pretty good nowadays, but I sometimes would prefer hardwire. In fact, right today I'm hardwired because I just never trust Wi-Fi. And then if you have automatic updates on your PC, you may want to disable them so they don't try to do it during your meeting. Visuals, handouts, outlines. If you're going to do a projector and screen and PowerPoint, be careful. What I'm doing right now to you guys is really violates every rule of good public speaking. All you hear is a disembodied voice over a bunch of PowerPoint slides. On a webinar, we kind of expect it. We're used to it. But if you're going to do a meeting with PowerPoint, the most important key is this one. I just hit the B key. It's black. No, there's nothing wrong with your webinar. I have hit the B key. You can also hit the W key and go to white, B key go to black, and then B key again to come back. But when you have presented a slide to somebody and you've made your point in live audience, hit the B key, turn it off. And if you don't believe me, next time you're in front of an audience, hit the B key and watch the entire audience look in your eyes. Hit the B key again, turn on the projector, they all look at the screen. Then they look at you, then they look at the screen. It is, I've proven this a million times. So when you're done with the PowerPoint, turn it on, turn it off. I like flip charts and whiteboards. It adds some dynamic to it. And again, I'm bringing up video, Skype, GoTo Meeting we talked about. Make your topic live. What that means is if you are going to present a topic, back it up with stories. I hear people say, well, all he did was tell war stories. That's okay. If you have a good story, that if it makes the point, like John Candy said in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, or was said to John Candy, you know, your story would be better if it had a point. So have a point to your stories. Analogies, examples, quotes, experts, humor. Be careful with humor. If I know a lot of people say, well, you know, I'm not really funny. I said, well, if you're not funny, don't try to be, because that'll be just, it'll be painful. I wouldn't use humor unless it's natural, unless you just find some humor and stuff. And let me see, I think the key thing I want to talk about, MPF, model practice feedback. I coined a little thing called iPractice, small I, capital P, where 5 minutes of show me is worth 5 hours of tell me, and that's why you play one of our videos to demonstrate a skill, or you demonstrate it, and then you set up role plays and use the iPad or your iPhone to do video role plays. And I'm going to go back to this slide. And the way that's set up, I did this for John Coyle's company when I was speaking in Baltimore earlier this year. And what I did, we broke the group into threes. One person is going to play the role of the agent. One will play the role of a customer, client, seller, buyer, open house visitor. And the third person holds the iPhone or the iPad. The iPhone that gets used is the one of the agent. That way she is in charge of her own video. Nobody else is going to see her video except her. So she gives her phone to the videographer, and you do a 3, 4, 5 minute video role play. If you want to see one of your sales meetings absolutely rock, just blow the doors off the place, do an iPractice. They are fun, they're crazy, it's total chaos, but I promise you they will remember it. And if somebody does a role play that you really like, you can take your iPhone and show it on your flat screen. You can connect it through some wiring. You can use AirPlay if you have Apple TV. A lot of ways to get it. But that is a powerful way to have a fun meeting. And the other thing is, if you want to get better, at doing meetings, the best advice I'll give you, as long as I'm on the planet Earth, when I work with other speakers and they want my advice on how to do presentations, my answer is always videotape yourself and make sure it's done properly. The camera has to be on a tripod. It's got to be close to you, and use a lavalier mic sent to the camera, a wireless mic. Do not ever use the onboard camera mic, ever. Just tear it off the camera. It is of no value to you other than maybe syncing up another soundtrack. So make sure that you use the wireless mic to follow up. I'm going to stop for a second. I wanted to give you just some fundamental tips on this. I'm going to stop and see if any of you have any questions. And I guess what I'd like to ask you right now are, what are the challenges that you do have with sales meetings? And type some of those into your question area, and I'll do my best to respond to them. You weren't ready for me to stop and ask a question, were you? Well, type something. I just want to make sure this webinar is still working. Type anything to a question and hit enter. I just want to make sure it's working. The joy of webinars. I love live seminars. You guys have to bring me to your company, do a live seminar this year. Top producer wounded TED meetings. How do I get him to attend? Thank you, Susan. Gosh, that's a great question. You know, usually the top people are the ones that want to learn, and they also can be the ones that think they know everything. The best way to get a top producer to attend a meeting is have him or her run it. So Susan, try this and then let me know how it works. So I would go to this top producer and find out what his or her key skill is. Sit down with this person and say, I want to get back to helping our agents do come to meetings, and I want to help them grow in the business. And you are really good at, you know, whatever the key skill is. And I'd like to ask a favor of you. I would like you to be the presenter at our next sales meeting, and the topic is, you know, commission objections or listing presentations. Well, not listing presentations, that would take 6 years, but it might be, I want you to cover, what do you do in the first 10 minutes of a listing? And engage the help of your top producer. That's a good way to do that person. One other thing, Susan, for any of you, you know, who have a challenge with top producers, one of the challenges, by the way, I hear is, you know, we have a lot of managers who've been out of the business for years and years and years, and they are intimidated by their top producers. But remember, Mark Spitz's swimming coach couldn't swim. So you can still facilitate a meeting and have a meeting for top producers only. I'm going to say this again. You could have, we have somebody that does Thursday Rocks with David Knox, and they pick 3, 4, 5 of their top producers, and the only people who can attend this meeting have to have sold, you know, $10 million a year to even be invited to the meeting, and it's secret and it's private. And that way, top producers may attend because they want to be with other top producers. So, Susan, I hope that helps, because that's really a question. Ernie says, you have covered all their key problems. Thank you, Ernie. Hey, David, love the idea for live role play. I cannot impress upon you enough iPractice, small I, capital P. I'm going to take you to our site. You go into the search and search for iPractice, and you're going to find KMT 36. I was at Kai's real estate company down in Florida, and we videotaped me doing it. And the way we set it up is we have these two guys right here. You know, one was played the agent, one played the customer. This person held the iPad. This iPad belonged to whoever was being the salesperson, so he could watch himself. The other thing here, if you want to have some fun, we even have a video slate. You can print this out. They're, you know, 2 up, and you write the date, time, scene, and participant. And when you start the video, take a video of the slate, so the first frame will show who it is. And so here's all the videos that we did on how to do iPractice. I will tell you, it is a challenge. It's crazy. It's chaotic, but that's what makes it fun. And I promise you, if you do these video role plays, you'll change everything in your office. And this is something you do for the top agents. Say, you know, only our 3 or 4 top agents can do this. And then you also do it for your new agents. I mean, everybody gets to iPractice, but I think you could segment them. Love the idea of a top producer meeting. Susan, good. Yeah, Susan, do me a favor. Let me know how that works, because top producers like to be called upon. And let's face it, you know, somebody's been in the business 30 years and they're selling $100 million worth of real estate a year. You know, they they should be teachers. They're the mentors in this industry, and they should be tapped on to present that. Ed, sales meetings are a cost-value equation. It is costing the agents 1 hour of their time. It had better be of value. I have guest realtors bring topics for 5 minutes discussion every other week. That works. I also take roll and all those in their seats at the exact start of the meeting, drawing for certificates, and of course David Knox videos. Hey, thanks very much, Ed. Hey, good. I'm glad to see you guys responding. It makes my day. Webinars can be so like, hey, is anybody there? Okay, seeing no further questions, I hope this helps you guys. As you know, we sit around here, we try to figure out what can we do to make your life easier, how can I become more valuable, and that's why we try to create good videos. We try to do the Skype. By the way, we have a new lady working for us. She's sitting right with me, Erin Jarenov. She is going to be our new salesperson. You might get her. I think I'm going to ask her to, Erin, do you want to say hi?
Hi, everybody.
That was Erin. A quick interaction. I'm sorry, I caught her off guard. She didn't know I was going to say that. But I've known Erin many years, and she was a top salesperson with another company, and she's joining me. And I think one of the things she may do is just call some of our customers and clients, and do a customer service courtesy call. So if you hear from Erin, I am asking her to do that. So before I end, is there any other question before I wrap up this webinar?
The What's New slate has been updated to April or to May. So.
Oh. Okay, let's go see. I'm going to click on Browse Videos. But there we go. You got it fixed. Thanks, Rob. That's Rob Tronson. Been with us for what, 10, 11 years now. That was a quick fix. Good for you. All during the webinar. Nice job. All right. Well, everybody, I really appreciate your membership in Real Estate Training by DavidKnox.com. Skype me into a meeting. I'm happy to do that. And if there's anything else that we can do for you, absolutely call. And you can email me, david@davidknox.com. And one final thing I would say is, if you have any issue with anything, remember, we answer our phones here. So if you need something right away, consider calling us first, because we'll answer our phones, and you get much faster service that way. So thank you all for being members, and I wish you a wonderful spring selling season. Thanks for joining me.